Shall we begin?
Why not? Welcome to Frankie Sense and More. It's like she's got a whole lot of goodness for you with a little bit of sass.
Frankie, did you just say...
She sure did. Not to mention, along with...
Whoops.
Join us now as Frankie Picasso and her new co-host mix it up with authors, musicians, and interviews with world-changing people.
Let's begin now.
Okay, let's begin now, because it only makes sense.
Hello there, and welcome to Frankie Sense and More. It's my pleasure to be here today with all of you, and I thank you for joining us. Today on the show, I've got two incredible women. Joining us is author Emily Wallace. She wrote her biography, Scarred for Life, the story of how she was abandoned by her family at the tender age of 11 years old and left to make her way in the world. And on the other side of that spectrum, we have Janz, who is the founder of Hope Ranch Ministries, a nonprofit that helps girls and women find safe shelter, a way out of sex trade, slavery, of human trafficking. And we're going to meet both of those ladies in just a moment. But first, my good news story. I love this story. A craft beer maker in Florida has just created a 6-pack ring that feeds animals instead of endangering them. Well, we all know how those little plastic loops get caught in the bills and in fish, and it's just really a horrible, horrible thing. Well, the saltwater brewery has replaced those dangerous plastic rings with their own innovation. It's a 6-pack carrier made out of wheat and barley waste, the leftover from making their beer. Now, the rings are as strong as the usual plastic ones, but they're biodegradable, and they're safe for the animals to eat. So kudos to you, Saltwater Brewery, and hopefully the pop makers, the soda in the U.S., they'll come together and they'll create a similar. Let them take biodegradable waste and make make carriers for all of the animals. So it's great for everybody. I love it. Well, as you know, on Frankie Sense, we usually align ourselves with the United Nations Global Goals. And specifically today, we're aligning with Global Goal number 5. That goal eliminates all forms of violence against women and girls in the public and private spheres, including trafficking and the sexual and other types of exploitation. Now, human trafficking is a modern-day form of slavery involving the illegal trade of people for exploitation or commercial gain. Every year, millions of men, women, and children are trafficked in countries around the world, including the United States and Canada. It's estimated that human trafficking generates many billions of dollars of profit, second only to drug trafficking as the most profitable form of transnational crime. That's pretty incredible. And I know that Diana's going to tell us a lot more about that in a moment. But let's meet Emily. Emily is legally blind. She is the mother of 6. She's also the author of Scarred for Life. Her autobiographical account of an extremely painful few years in her life. I'm sure she's had many more, but the book only goes into a couple. Struggling both physically and emotionally, she tried to make sense of a traumatic event that would lead her to be raped, beaten, and abandoned. Back in 1980, Emily returned home from school one day to find her house empty. There was no furniture and no family, nothing. Her mother had taken her siblings and left, and she left with no forwarding address. Imagine you're 11 years old, coming home, nobody's there anymore. With nowhere to go and a distrust of the system, Emily was about to get a new kind of education, one where she would sleep in abandoned houses, under porches, on the streets, anywhere to stay safe. Hunger even drove her to eat out of dumpsters and rely on the not-so-kindness of strangers. Let's meet Emily, and she can tell us about her story herself. Hi, Emily. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I can't complain.
You can't complain. Well, that's a good positive attitude. I like that. You really have an unusual story. I don't know too many people who, at 11 years old would come home and have their family move away from them. Why do you think that happened?
That's one question I can't answer because it's been over 20 years and I have not gotten any type of apology or anything. I just don't know. I can't even imagine, like you said earlier, I have 6 children. I can't even imagine leaving my 12-year-old, much less my 27-year-old abandoned like that. So I can't, it's no reason.
There's no reason. And have you ever found your family since? Did they ever reach out to your brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I found my mother. I was out there for like about from 11 to 16 and a half.
And then you found your mom at 16 and a half?
Yes, I was about to turn 17 years old.
And where did they go?
Well, the only thing she can tell me is that she left me. She abandoned me. My mother had 12 kids, and I'm the only one that she left behind. The only thing she could tell me is that I was a very fast little girl, and she moved away because she couldn't put up with me anymore.
That's got to be really, really difficult to understand. And are you still in touch with her today?
Yeah, I'm in touch with her. I know where she's at, but I doesn't have that mother and daughter relationship with my mom.
Right.
I mean, for so long I just, when I did get in contact with my mother, I wanted a mother so badly.
Right.
I ignored what happened.
Wow.
I just kept it all inside.
And
like
have you?
never happened.
So let's just talk about you're 11. You're going on 12. You go to your neighbors. You ask friends for help. Can I stay at your house? Can I stay at your house? And everybody seems to want something from you. Nobody wants to give anything for free.
Yeah, it's either they wanted sex or money. That's just the way it was out there on them streets.
And you didn't know anything about sex at 11. You hadn't been exposed to that.
No.
And so you had these older boys like in their 20s telling you, after one day how much they love you and how they want to take care of you, but you just have to lay with them.
Yes.
And you did.
I mean, it was very hard. It was very hard to.
Of course, you're so vulnerable.
It was very hard for me to. I end up at the end of the day, I had to make the streets my home.
Right.
And
were you able to go to school? Were you able to do anything like that, or what did you fill your days?
I went back to school, but at the same time, I went to a school because I tried to go to the school I was going to,
right.
And I ended up going to that school, but I didn't go to my regular classroom. And
were you able, the next day after, let's say, why did you not think to go to school and just tell your teacher, my mom left, I've got no home, can you help me? How come you didn't do that?
No, because you know why, Tiffany? Because for so long I thought it's something that I did. Even the next day, because my mother, what happened here is my two brothers, the night before my mother left me, my two brothers used to molest me. One was 18 and one was 19.
I see.
And I told my mother a night before. So my mother didn't believe me. She didn't want to believe me. She said that I was not telling the truth. She asked my brothers, and they said I wasn't telling the truth. So she more believed the grown men, my grown brothers, over me, what I was telling her. So, and that's why I thought it was something that I did wrong. I was so scared and afraid to. And then I ended up running across a friend of mine out there on the streets, and they was telling me that I was going to get locked up, and I even had a friend of mine that I saw was telling me that they're going to end up just giving me back to my mom. It was just so much. I didn't know what to think. I really didn't. I didn't know what to think while I was out there. It was just, I don't know. I don't know.
And no grown-ups came and said, hey, I'll look after you. What are you doing? They knew that your mom had left, and nobody in the neighborhood could look after you?
Well, it was an elder lady and her husband. I ended up sleeping up under her porch one day. It was a porch like where it's stairs, but it's a hole right on the side of the stairs where you can go in and keep warm.
Sure.
And I ended up sleeping up under the porch, and that day, I didn't go and ask them for help or anything. I just slept up under the porch. And I waited till they left the next morning. At least I thought that they was gone. I heard them start up the car because I was right there at the driveway up under the steps. And I heard them start up the car, and I heard the car, start up and leave. And so it was a part where I could sneak inside the house up under the steps. So I went into the little hole, and it led to the kitchen. And I went into the kitchen, and because I haven't eaten all that day, so I went into the kitchen, and I went to the refrigerator. I immediately grabbed, it was a pack of bologna and bread, and I started fixing me a sandwich. I didn't put any type of mayonnaise or anything on. I just started eating because I was hungry. And when I reached for a cup off the cabinet, and I turned on the water in the kitchen to get some water, I was facing the sink, and all of a sudden I heard a guy say, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And I was so scared I didn't know what to do. I just got to, talking very fast, telling him, "My mother left me. I need a place to stay. I don't know what to do." But he wasn't gone. His wife had, taken off. And probably like about a couple of minutes later, his wife came back in the house, which she was just starting up a car. She hadn't left. I thought she left. And she came back in, and she handed me a banana and an apple. And then I got to telling her, her and her husband were sitting in the kitchen, and I got to telling her, I said, "Well, my mother left me. All my sisters and brothers, I don't have nowhere to go. I really do need some help." And, the elder lady, she looked at her husband, and her husband walked, out the kitchen, and on his way walking out the kitchen, I can hear him saying, as she followed behind him, and I can hear him saying that, "Well, she can't stay here. She can't stay here." So I think that they didn't want to get involved.
Sure. But nobody ever thought to call the authorities. Nobody ever said, "Hey, let's call the police or social services," because it was kind of like, I guess people in your neighborhood didn't like them. We're going to go to a commercial break in just a moment. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Diana and Emily some more. And see, I'm sure that if Diana had been around, maybe your story would be a little bit different. I have a feeling, but we're going to find out. So don't go anywhere. Everybody stay tuned, stay close, because this is an incredible story. And this is something that's going on every day right under our noses, every day, everywhere. And it's hard to believe, but it's happening. So here we go. We're going to go to commercial, and we will be right back.
No, we're just getting warmed up. Frankie Sense and More will be right back after we pay the bills.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
It's words you never heard.
Harvey McKay, author of the best-selling book, Use Your Head to Get Your Foot in the Door, includes job search secrets no one else will tell you. Harvey is a true ideal praxist. That's a person who puts ideas into practice. Harvey admits landing the right job can be more difficult than the job itself. And successful people can't have pornophobia. That's the fear of work. But in these economic times, it can be a necessity to make money any way you can. What's a word for using any means to make money? Quomo de quunquais. So what's the best job to have? Will Rogers once said, "The best job in the country is the vice president. All he has to do is get up every day and ask, how is the president?"
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my new app, Too Funny for Words.
And We're back. It's Frankie Sense and More. I am your host, Frankie Picasso. And now let's meet Diana Janz. She's the founder of Hope Ranch Ministries, which became a nonprofit in 2011. Prior to Hope Ranch being founded, Diana worked with a nonprofit in downtown Los Angeles with survivors of sex trafficking. She realized that it was a huge task to prevent trafficking and care for survivors in the U.S. It needed to happen in every town and every city. And so her vision became more specific, and she took what she learned and found some others who wanted to support her and who also had the same vision to help these women escape slavery. And she went to Eugene, Oregon, and she started Hope Ranch. And so welcome, Diana.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
I understand
nice
you were born in Canada.
I was, and I am a Canadian to this day, but yeah.
Where in Canada are you from?
Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay, in Saskatchewan. Yep. I'm coming to you right now from Toronto.
Oh, awesome.
But the station is in Texas. So you said that you had a lot of unhappy and tragic things happen in your life. Mm-hmm. Do you want to share a few of those?
Well, let me tell you, for example, what actually precipitated me even doing what I'm doing now. And that was about 8 years ago when I really didn't know that human trafficking was even an issue in our country. I always thought it was somewhere else, someone else's problem, because it wasn't anybody I knew. And I thought my life was what it was going to be the rest of my life. I had, numerous sources of income. I was married. I just kind of did what I wanted and so on. And literally, I say my life exploded because what happened was that my parents died. One of my best friends since I was 12 or somebody significant committed suicide. Oh, I actually almost died, lost my life because I was very ill. I lost my sources of income because of that, my marriage, and even my dog died. I mean, it was just like everything.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. Wow. I had no sources of income, and I actually thought, I'm just going to go back to Canada. I'm just going to go hide somewhere for the rest of my life. Well, when I got there, I realized that that was not what I was supposed to be doing. I came back here, ended up in LA because I had a couple of children down there. And so that's one part. I mean, that's how it got me to this place. I mean, it was like tragedy. I thought my life was over. I was suicidal and wanted to end my life.
And how's your health now?
Good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, it took me about a year to recuperate, and then
So you started Hope. So how did you get involved then in this? Like, what put your attention or your lens towards trafficking?
Just before all of this, which I was describing, happened to me, I watched a documentary. I don't watch TV. Mm-hmm. I happened to turn it on, and there was a documentary about sex trafficking, and I saw, they're bringing people here, and that's all I thought it was, and I still thought it's not my problem. But that kind of woke me up to it. And then when I went down to LA, I just decided to volunteer somewhere. I was going to sweep the floors or clean the toilets. I didn't care. But when I got there, they put me on the trafficking floor, which I didn't even know they had before I got there. And that's what really opened my eyes, because most of the young ladies that we were dealing with were American citizens, and not that anybody else isn't just as important, but It was just my mindset at the time. And so then when I realized, wow, this is happening here, then I knew I had to do something.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So you went out to Eugene?
I came back here because this is where I have lived probably half of my life. My friend base is here, and I just never dreamt that it was a problem here. I just thought I will come here and start something, and people will come here. But then it didn't take me very long to realize it's a significant problem here.
And how did you recognize these girls? Like, how would you go about on the street and go, oh, this person needs help? How would you do that?
Well, it's usually not what we do, but I've been around these young ladies since 2010, and they've I just say they've taught me everything I know, because once you learn to recognize it and once they help you understand, it's very easy to see. And it could be even a small thing of somebody not being able to, like if I was walking down the street and there was a girl probably inappropriately dressed for the weather, she might be on the phone. If I said something to her, she probably wouldn't look me in the eye necessarily. Just her insecurity, because pimps know, they know intuitively, because they've been taught how to recognize these girls. And once you learn, you can recognize those of us amongst us who are insecure. Different things happened to me, and I used to say, I had a sign on my forehead, please abuse me. And it really is like you almost carry a sign once you learn to recognize it.
Right.
And I would like to add here that it isn't just girls, it's boys and
too.
men as well, too, that are being sex trafficked.
Absolutely. So, Emily, did you, I can't even speak. Would you agree with what Diana is saying? Like, were you afraid? Do you think that you walked down the street as a victim?
Yes. Yeah, I know I walked down the street as a victim. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was afraid. I didn't know what, and it's good that, she has that type of organization going on, because, I mean, I would have ran across her because I would have got some help. But like I said, it was very hard to be out there on them streets. And I cried many days for my mom to come and get me, but, it just didn't happen for some time.
Diana, how many girls have you ever met with a story like Emily's? Have you met anybody else like that?
Personally, I've never met anybody with a story like that.
Pretty incredible.
It is very incredible, and trust me, if I would have run into you, I would have helped you. There's nothing, it's so difficult, because there's a young girl that I've worked with for quite a few years, and she was on the streets here, and she said, I thought nobody cared. But the truth is, thousands of us care. We care desperately, but it's the connecting the people that need the help to the people that want to help, and that's partly what we do.
Right. And so, yeah, it's pretty incredible. How many people do you think in the United States right now are victims of trafficking?
You know what? Statistics are really hard. Some people won't even. What I do know is that 100 to 300,000 youth in our country are vulnerable to being sex trafficked every single year. And they think I think the statistic is something like 1 out of 4 within 48 hours, a runaway will be approached by a sex trafficker on the streets.
Yeah, I heard that it was in the millions. And you said that where you are in Eugene, that it's that corridor because of I-5 is there's a lot of trafficking going on. Like, you wouldn't think, I mean, Eugene, Oregon is supposed to be like this, beautiful little place and everything's nice. And you would not think of human trafficking associated with that.
And you would like to not think that, but is a significant problem here. And it's just like this underbelly of our society. We wouldn't tolerate what other people in some other countries do, for example, if we saw it. But here it just goes under, out of sight and on the internet. And so we don't see it. And so, unless you really know what to look for, you don't even see it generally on the streets. But
what's amazing to me is that, you've got these sex slaves, but you've also got clients. And where are all these guys coming from around there that want, prostitutes, that want to pay for sex? And why? What makes that area so interesting?
Well, actually, I don't think it's just this area. I don't care where you live. It's happening. Right. If you've got a drug problem, you also you generally have a sex trafficking problem too. And I just know that it's something that's happening everywhere. And it's actually a myth that there's some places where it's not.
Right. What about you, Emily? Do you find that, are you surprised that there's so many guys that want to pay for sex?
No, it doesn't surprise me, but it's a lot of them out here that is doing a lot of raping also. So it doesn't surprise me. Abuse is something very strong, and it's just I'm grateful to even have you on the line and Diana to even discuss this, because I'm so amazed at what she's saying or what she does, because I do go around trying to speak with kids about child abuse and neglect and abandon, and I also speak about bullying and domestic violence, because I've been through all three of them. So it's very neat, and you just got to, and before I, came on the show, I have to tell you, Frankie, yesterday I had a hard day, a very hard day. Mm-hmm. And in regards to, I got a call from my mom, and, she's very, very, upset about the book and so forth. And she, what she been knew about the book, but I guess one of my sisters really told her something that was inside the book, and she told me yesterday that I can just look at that I don't have a mother anymore. And
you didn't have one anyway.
And you said exactly what my husband said.
Uh-huh.
But it really touched me for a mother to say, after what all I've been through, after what all she put me through for having me out there on the streets at the age of 11. Right. And I'm grown now, and you still
she's still playing
I don't want to talk to you anymore, and just it doesn't make sense, Well,
but
it really bothers me.
Emily, don't let I can't say don't let it bother you, but as a coach, I'm just going to say your mother is playing the victim. She's playing the blame game, and she's blaming you for everything that's going wrong in her life, and she's manipulating you. And really, she abandoned you, and you made and did the best that you possibly could at the age that you were back then and where you are now. And I think you're incredibly healthy for somebody who's gone through all of what you've gone through. And honestly, your mom left a long time ago. She hasn't been a mother to you. She didn't mother you. She didn't nurture you. And, if you can find somebody, or if you have a best friend that can be your mother, or your husband can be your mother, that person that you need to give you that hug right now, we'll give it to you. Diana and I will give it to you right now. But, really, for her to say that to you, it's unconscionable. It really is.
Yeah, it is. But I go twice a week. I do see a psychologist.
Good for you.
And she's a very good psychologist. I'm in a program with Michigan Commission for the Blind, so they, my counselor read my book, and she said, "Well, Emily,
I'm sorry, Emily, I got to stop you. We're going to go to a commercial break, but when we come back, I want to hear more about that. Okay, just hang around. Everybody, stick around. We're coming right back with Emily and Diana. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Frankie Sense and More. Frankie Picasso is your host.
Warmed up. Frankie Sense and More will be right back after we pay the bills.
Welcome to Geraldine Tegelov Live, the show that shares with you the secrets of redefining, reinventing, and rebuilding your life. Having pulled herself from the rubble of financial ruin and having gone on to create a highly successful career, Geraldine has become an expert in the art of transformation. She believes that it doesn't matter where you are right now, how overwhelmed you feel, or how impossible the task of turning your life around may seem. You can do it. Stay tuned as metaphysician, international best-selling author, and intuitive Geraldine Tegelov gives you the inner understanding and the outer practical how-to to create your amazing life. Gain a fresh perspective on how to redefine, reinvent, and rebuild your life. Join Geraldine Tegelov live every Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the TogiNet Radio Network.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
Spring and summer are great times to go green. Choosing to eat green vegetables and fruit on a daily basis is a fantastic idea. Whether it's asparagus, lettuce, spinach, or artichokes, green produce is a wonderful choice, full of essential nutrients. Green beans, broccoli, edamame, and avocados are delicious and very nutritious. Cucumbers, peas, and peppers contain lutein, which helps protect against cataracts and macular degeneration. Green fruits like grapes and kiwi not only taste delicious, they're full of antioxidants. Leafy greens are also excellent sources of folate. a B vitamin that helps reduce the risk of birth defects and helps keep our hearts healthy. So next time you're grocery shopping, choose fresh green vegetables and fruit and go green. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond.
And we're back at Frankie Sense and More. Thank you for staying around. We're here with Emily and Diana, and Emily was sharing a story about, her mom and how her mother was upset about the book, The Mother Who Abandoned Her, when she was 11 years old. Emily's been seeing a psychiatrist for about a year now who's been really helping her get her head around all of this. And when she told her psychiatrist about the conversation with her mother, she wasn't surprised. She said, what makes you think that this woman cares about you now when she didn't care about you when you were 11 and just left you, took all your 11 brothers and sisters and left and left you all by yourself. Pretty crazy story. If Emily had found herself in your good graces, Diana, what would happen to an Emily if Hope Ranch had found her?
I would have found a place for her where she was safe and in a family situation, because that's what we believe. That I will never forget when I had a young girl in a fetal position in the corner of my car saying, all I ever wanted was a family to love me, and so that's what we provide. And sometimes if we can't help somebody, I find somewhere else for them to be, but to provide a loving, caring, nurturing place for her.
So
it makes me want to do it now.
I know. Is it a real place? Like, do you have like dormitories and stuff, or is it just the idea of this ranch and like you say, you go out and you find there's other you've got board members, there's other volunteers working with you, which you actually place her in a home with somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
I personally don't believe in the dormitory style, and even other organizations are getting away from that. They need family, they need nurturing, and so we have a small private home, and then I also find other organizations or other actually families for people to live with.
And then do they come and they meet and talk with you guys, or
if somebody calls me, at this point, I still personally go and meet them and help them. Mm-hmm. And then I have other people helping me, of course. So
sure. Yeah. Emily, do you think you would have gone to a family if you had been given the opportunity?
Oh, most definitely. Yes. I would have loved that. Yes. So I hope there's a lot of people out there that's listening to Diana, or any child that's going through something, that's listening, because that's very, very important. To run across someone like Diana, that would be great. I most definitely, I would have. That's what she just said. That's all I wanted out of my life is, my mother to love me, and I wanted a family just to love me.
I mean, like I know for a lot of the kids from down east, they come to the bigger cities, or, kids are drawn to big cities when they run away from home. And as you said, Diana, within, 48 hours, they've been attacked. Some leech has grabbed them and said, I'm going to look after you, and really brought them into the trafficking or sex trade. And that's really, in a different way, that's what happened to you, Emily, right? I mean, you were raped, like within the first week. I mean, you're raped and repeatedly and beaten, and your mom wasn't even gone that long.
Yes, she wasn't.
It's amazing how these people are drawn to the vulnerable so quickly, and those of us around the vulnerable don't see it. How are these people so able to attach themselves to these young people so quickly, and yet the rest of society doesn't even notice them?
They hang out where they know they're going to be. They hang out where the runaways are, and that could be at in our town, it could be around the bus station, the library, train stations. They just go where they are. Missions, food places.
Yeah.
And again, so if you're listening and you want to help, what can we do? What should we do? What would you girls suggest?
Go ahead, Emily. I'll go next.
Well, if you're listening, first you should try to get in contact with Diana or any type of organization to help with child abuse, neglect, and abandonment, because that's very important to go out and get help. Don't keep it in. Speak out. never be afraid to speak out and try to get help, because that's, like I said, that's very important to get help. And you don't want to keep anything inside for a very long time, because it hurts more. It hurts a lot more. So, just get out and get help from a teacher, police officer, child protective service, anybody you can go to, even a friend. If you can go to a friend to get help, go to that friend and see, can you get some type of help to help you.
Back then, though, Diana, you were afraid to go to the police. Why was that? You were told what?
Well, I was told, first of all, I thought it's something that I did wrong.
Right.
And I was told from a couple of my friends that, that I'll go to jail. You're going to be locked up. You're not going to get to go to school. A lot of different stuff which I was told. Even from, the grown man that, ended up raping me, was telling me no one is going to believe you. If you tell anybody, it was to the point that, a lot of stuff just had me scared, afraid. If I knew what I knew today, most definitely I would have found the organization of something like Diana's to get some type of help.
So how could a Diana or me or anybody come up to 11-year-old you and have you believe that you're not going to go to jail? Have you believe that we're going to look after you? What kind of words would you have accepted?
Well, you know what? When I was 11, honestly, Tiffany, I lost trust in people. To be honest. That's a hard question kind of to answer, because I lost trust in people, because a couple of people was telling me that they would help me or they would do this. Even, a 28-year-old man, I would help you, in the morning time, I'll call the police or try to get you some type of help. And that didn't happen. He just raped me and beat me. So at that time, I ended up losing a lot of trust for people out there on the streets, and it's sadly. But I finally, did get help, but I was really scared. I didn't know what to do. And a lot of people asked me. Was it that beating that where you lost your eyesight, or did that come later? I was hit in the eye out there on the streets from a 28-year-old man. Yes, I was told that I was hit in the eye too many times, and while I was out on the streets, I probably was hit in the eye more than 4 or 5 times. And then when he did find my mother, my brother jumped on me also, and that's when I seen all the colors, red, white, and blue and green. When he punched me in the eye, and my eyes went dead for a minute, because I seen all them colors and I messed up. I think that was the last straw to be hit in the eye. It caused me to lose my sight. Wow.
Do any of your siblings talk to you, or any of them kind to you?
One of my sisters, speaks, at one point they all was talking to me until like I said, for 8 years I didn't tell anyone. I just kept it inside. Sure. When I found my mother, I was so happy to have a mother. I was so happy that, to be back there, with my family. I kept it inside, but I do have, right now, none of my siblings is not talking with me. One of them, I don't understand why she's not, because she's upset, saying I shouldn't have told anyone. But my mother lost her from the state of Michigan. After my mother abandoned me and left me, a couple of, maybe about a year or 2 later, my mother lost a child, my sister, to the state of Michigan, because she went to her teacher and told that my 2 brothers was molesting her in the home.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you think that you would ever get your brothers charged with that?
No. Actually, my the 2 brothers just passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Diana, do you have any questions for Emily? Feel free to ask if you have any.
Okay, I'm just listening with rapt attention.
I know.
I just,
makes it heartbreaking.
There are many other young boys and girls on our streets being mistreated in different ways, not necessarily like her, but they are there. Mm-hmm. And I just urge everybody to reach out to a nonprofit or somebody in your cities or your towns to ask them how you can help. And then even if it's something small, if we all do something small, it makes something big. And the other thing I would really encourage people to do is to get to know the kids in your life, whether it's your neighbors, whether it's in church, because abuse happens there. Everywhere it happens, in school, and really get to know the kids in your life and communicate with them and look them in the eye, because if you do that, then when something goes down or something they want to talk to somebody, they're going to trust you and they're going to come to you. And even however far-fetched it sounds what a kid tells you, you have to take it seriously.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah. Err on the side of caution. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm going to bring you on for a second since we have 3 minutes before break. Come on and tell us about this cafe you're telling us about.
Okay. Here in Tyler, Texas, we actually have a coffee place that it's called Grounds for Drug.
We lost you there for a second.
Oh, sorry. It's called Grounds for Justice.
Grounds for Justice?
And what they do is, it's more than a coffee place. They have other retailers there, but they part of their proceeds actually go to help people with human trafficking, or that have been human trafficked.
Wow. That's awesome.
Perfect.
And do they give it to an organization like Diana's, or do they have an organization? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I know the church that I go to, Dayspring United Methodist, they also do a lot and help out with that.
Wow. Well, you're not too far from Texas, Diana.
No, not that far.
Have you heard
I'm wanting to get our own coffee shop started here, because one of the hardest things we have is finding jobs often for survivors.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
So you could have a place where they could work and learn how to run a business and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, like Bon Jovi's doing with his restaurant. Yeah, I love it. That's a great idea. Well, thanks, Ben. Thanks for telling us about that.
Not a problem.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to go to break in 1 more minute, and that's going to be our last break before the end of the show. So thank you all for sticking around and listening, and continue to stick around and listen, because we still have another 20 minutes or so to go with Diana and Emily. And it's just such a fascinating story that trafficking is going on, that Emily was abandoned when she was, that there's so many Emilys out there, and so much bullying going on, and fear. It's horrific, the kind of fear that these master manipulators can instill in somebody to make them stay. People always wonder, why do abused women stay? Well, they stay because of fear. That's why they stay. And it's real. It's real fear for them, imagined or not. If they're going to do it or not, it's a threat, and threats are scary. We're going to go to a break right now. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. Don't forget, this is the year of the woman, and we are going to have equality.
Frankie Sense and More will be right back after we pay the bills.
If you're ready for a big change in your work, your career, your happiness, your life, it's time for the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Marla believes that with the right mindset, anything is possible. Join us as successful life coach Marla Tabaka inspires you and her clients to explore, discover, and live your dreams by developing what she calls the $1 Million Mindset. Marla will inspire you to take action on your dreams and reveal secrets to success that will help you realize your own unique power. Tune into the $1 Million Mindset for heartwarming stories with Marla Tabaka. Learn tips and tricks to building a successful business and unlock the secrets to creating a happier, more balanced life through abundant thinking and attraction power. For more information on the $1 Million Mindset, go to our website, marlatabaka.com. That's MarlaTabaka.com. It's the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
It's a fact that it's never too late to start a strength training program. Lifting weights is an important part of your overall fitness routine. Harvard Medical School says that muscle tissue and bone density dwindle over the years. Muscle power does also. These changes open the door to accidents and injuries that can compromise your ability to lead an active and independent life. They state that strength training is the most effective way to slow and possibly reverse much of this decline. As you age, you do not have to get weaker. You don't have to be feeble. You don't have to lose your balance. The good news is the risk of these problems can be reduced by a fitness routine that includes strength training. So no matter what your age, you need to be pumping iron. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond. Like us on Facebook.
And we're back. It's Frankie Sense and More. And my guest is Diana Janz and Emily Wallace. And here we are. We are going to give you the email and the web address for Hope Ranch in case you want to go and visit that. It's www.hoperanchministries.com. And if you want to reach out to Diana or anybody in the ministry, I guess you can go to info@hoperanchministries.com. If you want to order Emily's book, Scarred for Life, there's two versions. There's the uncut version for adults, and you would order it and go onto Amazon and look for Tina Smith. And if you want to share it with your children, you can buy it from Emily Wallace as the author. So there you go. That's right, right? Yeah.
I think we said it wrong.
Oh, I said it wrong? Okay, go ahead. Straighten us out.
The uncut version is under Emily Wallace. That's for adults. The clean version for kids is under Tina Smith.
Got it. Okay. So Tina Smith is the clean version for kids. Emily Wallace is the uncut version for adults.
Yes.
And she tells it like it is. So get the clean version if you want to share it with your children. Because it's important to share with kids because, how many times do your kids say, "Oh, I'm leaving. I don't like it here." I mean, my kids used to. I had a son who was home. He's going to go, "I'm leaving. I want another family." And I'm like, "What family wants you? Who do you think? What, you think you just walk out and families open their doors to you or something?" And he had it so great. He really did. But kids always do that. I ran away 10 times down at the corner. I'd wait for my dad, and come back. But sometimes kids really do run away, seriously. And, they think they're invincible. They're young. They don't know the dangers of what, can befall them. And here you have real life examples, two ladies who know only too well what can happen to a child or a young adult, or boys and girls, when they run away from home. And even if they don't run away from home, if they're not careful coming home. I know here where I lived, there's a young boy, 13 years old, a big boy too. He was, just murdered on his way home. He was sexually abused, and then murdered on his way home. And it can happen. And so we need to make sure our kids are safe. We need to tell them about predators and dangers, what awaits them. We don't want to have scared children, but you need to have streetwise children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, Emily, you've got 6 kids. Tell us about how you met your husband. I'm really fascinated because he sounds like a great guy.
I met my husband actually. I met him through a friend of mine. Actually, I met him through a friend of mine. I met him on, she was talking with one of his friends, and I talked to him on the phone for before I even met him because I was so afraid of people from going through all what I'd been through, and I talked to him on the phone before I even met him for about 9 months.
Okay.
And then one day I decided his family was running a candy store in Highland Park. And I went he didn't know I was coming. He told me where he worked at and everything. And I went into the store because I wanted to see, I was curious. I wanted to see how he looked. Mm-hmm. And I went into the candy store and I just, I bought up some cookies. They was you could buy 5 for a penny. You pay 5 cents and get 5 cookies.
Sure.
And I bought those, and I seen how he looked and everything, and and how polite he was. So one thing led to another. Before we got married, we stayed together for about 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And then we decided to get married in 95. I've been with my husband. It'll be 27 years, July 8th.
Well, congratulations on the longevity.
Yes. Yes.
And your children
Yes.
obviously know your story. And
Yes.
how old were they when you told them your story?
Well, I didn't. I told my kids my story right before 2010.
Okay, before the book.
I didn't. Before the book, and they the one suggested that, Mom, you should write a book. You can help a lot of kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then I started going around speaking, saying my speech to at the Boys and Girls Clubs, at junior high schools, different places, going to speak. But my kids really was very, very shocked. My oldest son, that's 27, he was like. He don't like being around my mother. None of my sisters and brothers. Either he's very upset about it, and a lot of my kids didn't take it well. They just couldn't understand it.
Had they met your mother before they heard the story?
Yes, they did.
Oh, they had. Wow.
They have met my mother before they heard what happened, but I've always been careful. If I go to my mother's, because for so long, like I said, I ignored it for 8 years.
Sure.
But if my kids will have to be right by my side, because before, like I said, before my brothers passed away, they used to be at my mother's house still, and I didn't want my children. I didn't even want a pedophile even looking at my child.
Sure, of course not.
So.
Yeah.
I kept them by my side every second. But I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell my husband when I first got with him.
Right.
Because and my husband found out in 2010 also, but we got married in 95. I didn't tell him because of, I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want him to.
Sure.
I didn't want him to say, I don't want no part of that. I didn't want him to do that. I wanted to be with him, and and I didn't want, I just didn't want. I knew he was a good guy, and I
to follow you. And that kind of brings me to another question for you, Diana. How dangerous is what you do to you personally, and those that work with the that try to get into
it could be dangerous, and it probably is. I don't walk in fear, probably partly because of just my temperament and who I am, but I am careful and I am cautious. I know that I have friends who do what I do, who their lives have been threatened, and they get, phone calls and different things like that. But I have actually never heard of somebody that works with survivors that has lost their lives. And like one of the young ladies that I've worked with told me, they're not interested in you, they just want us. They just want us back. But nevertheless, they're, people are threatened and etc. But I've never known of anybody. But it is, we are careful. It is, It is dangerous. Yeah, I'm very careful. Because there's not any girls that I've ever worked, probably most of the girls that I've ever worked with say that they've seen somebody's life being taken and or their own lives have been threatened, and they feel very lucky to be alive.
I imagine. I mean, you have to think of it. You're taking, what they say is $1 billion industry worldwide. So you're taking millions of dollars away from somebody, and they're going to be a little bit ticked, to say the least.
Although, unfortunately, they're very easily replaceable, and that's probably part of it. But
yeah.
Wow. It is. Yeah, it's something you need to be careful about, and there's certain places I wouldn't go at certain times, and I actually stay off TV. I don't do things where I get my face out there.
Right. Yeah. And that makes sense. When I was in Mexico recently, the police came on our boat, and we thought, oh my God, they're there with machine guns and their faces are covered, and it's kind of scary. But they do it because they don't want their families, retaliation against their families if something happens. So it makes perfect sense, So thank you for doing what you do. I don't know how many times you get thanked, but I'm going to thank you publicly for doing what you do.
You're welcome.
I think that's pretty amazing.
And I want to say the same thing, Diana. What you're doing is great, very great. I'm like, wow, and that's really something good. It is.
Well, thank you for saying that.
You could save a lot of kids. Well,
we work at it, and the truth is, I mean, even now, you telling your story, it just makes me want to throw my arms around you and say, if I would have been there, I would have helped you. But, it's, if you take any solace or comfort in that there's thousands of us that would have helped if we would have known.
And, I like that you're going out and you're doing the work too, Emily. You're going out and trying to save these kids and speaking, to the different groups that you're speaking to and sharing a very, horrific, traumatic, courageous story. I mean, really, kudos to you for having the guts to talk about it and say it, because, that's nobody wants to say what you say. Nobody wants to say my mother abandoned me. I got raped. I got beaten. Nobody wants to talk about that, but you are. And so, God bless you for doing that and for being so, as I said, courageous enough to share that story, because, that's real. That's as real as it's going to get, folks.
That's harder than what I'm doing. I mean, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it took me some time. It took me over 20 years to be able to speak out. And if possible, does you have an email? Because I couldn't write down the address and everything. Yeah,
we'll do it again. Again, it's hoperanchministries.com is the website. Go to www.hoperanchministries and info@hoperanchministries.com. And it's on the show, and you'll be able to listen to it playback later if you forget it. So we can do that. And again, if you want to get Emily's book, Emily Wallace, is the clean version. No. Yeah. Was that right? I got confused again. On Amazon.
The uncut version is under Emily Wallace, but the clean version is under Tina Smith.
Okay.
And also, I didn't mention it, Tiffany. The kids can get it free. They can send me an email, and I'll send them a copy.
So what's your email? Give us your email, because we didn't give that out.
My email address is author, AUTHOR, Tina, TINA, Smith, SMITH, @gmail.com. Is there any child out there that wants to read my book and hear my story? You can send me an email, and I have to tell you, I have to get an okay from your parents to read it. Even though it's a clean version, it's a powerful book, and you guys can get it for free.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. So author Tina Smith @gmail.com. If you want to read Tina's, Emily's book, if you're a parent and you want your child to read her book, have them send you her email, and she can send you that book for free, which is very generous. Thank you so much. We've just got a minute left. If either of you have something that you didn't get to say, please share it now.
Can I share a little of my speech for the kids? Do we have enough time, Tiffany?
We've got one minute and less.
Oh, okay. So we probably don't have much
30
time.
seconds now.
Well, thank you, Frankie, for what you do too. Just thank you for having us, and it was so great to hear you, Emily. It just was amazing.
You're listening to Diana Janz from Hope Ministries, HopeRanchMinistries.com, and Emily Wallace from A Scarred Life. And I want to thank both of you for being my guest today. Thank you, Ben, for producing the show. And all of you, thank you for coming back each and every week to listen to our shows and to download the shows, especially downloading them, because we really, really appreciate that. Take care, everybody. Have a safe week.
Thanks
I'll be
a
back
lot,
next
Tiffany.
time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.